Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with my quick thoughts about PUBG for Xbox One. I wanted to share some of my thoughts about the game since I've been playing it quite a bit. I also wanted to hear what some of you guys think in the comments down below, for those of you who have picked it up, or for those of you who are on the fence or have decided not to pick it up. I just wanted to kind of talk about my experience with the game and tell you about what I think about some of the things that people are talking about and some of the issues about the game, and then some of the things I really like about the game. I figured a video would be a good way to do that. If you'd like to win a copy of the game, I will have a link in the YouTube description available for the first week this video is out. Alright, so PUBG, arguably the biggest game of 2017, has now made its way to Xbox via the game preview program. For those who are PC users, that's going to be very similar to the early access program. And what that means is that the game is not finished, the game is not ready, it is not the final product. The game will continue to change for a very long time, and there are technically no guarantees that it'll ever actually be finished. Additionally though, that also means you get an hour of a trial if you so desire. And if the game ever does release as a final version, you own that game even if the price goes up. Now, for those who don't really know much about PUBG, I'm going to quickly explain how the game works. It's a battle royale game. 100 people spawn on the map. You can play solo, in a team of 2, or in a squad of 4. And 100 people will spawn on a map, and it's basically last player standing, everyone for themselves. You're going to be scavenging for items like guns and bandages, and working your way towards a circle as it collapses into one section of a map, which is completely random every time. Alright, so let's start with my thoughts and even a little bit of my recommendations. If you're thinking about picking up PUBG, it's very important that you know a couple of things. Like I said, the game is in game preview, and it is known to be one of the jankiest games around. It is very glitchy, and your game will probably crash every now and again, although you'll be able to rejoin if you can load the game back fast enough to not die. Also, the frame rate is a pretty big issue right now. I've been playing the game on Xbox One X, and I've had some serious slowdown and sluggish moments where the game got pretty choppy, especially in towns with a lot of buildings, or during kind of big gunfights with a lot of people running around. The frame rate does dip very low, even on the One X, and I've heard it dips even lower on the One S. The game also takes itself quite seriously, and there's a lot of inventory management, and the inventory management using a controller can be a little bit tough. There's definitely a learning bump there, and it's definitely not as fleshed out as it could be for use with a controller. However, with all of those things said, if you are willing to look past them, this is one of the most fun multiplayer games I have played in a very, very long time. Now, on the day this game came out, I played almost 12 hours into the wee hours of the morning, and there's just something about this game that makes time absolutely fly when you're playing with friends. The feeling of gameplay is almost a little bit of a roller coaster. At times, you are very chilled out, you're just looking for stuff, scavenging, and you feel completely safe. But within a moment's notice, you can be in a super tense firefight that will end that round right then and there. And overcoming those moments to make your way into the final few people of a round rewards you with a great sense of accomplishment and gives you a really big rush. I think another really cool aspect of this game is that every round is somewhat random. The flight pattern of the plane is going to be random, so the areas that you're able to skydive to are also going to be kind of random, and certain cities are going to be more populated than others in different rounds, and as the circle closes, it's always going to close to a different section. There are obviously some patterns here, but every round feels unique and fresh because of some of these random factors. And adding to that is all of the random loot you'll come across. Sometimes you'll get really lucky, you'll get the exact gun you want with a great 4x or 8x scope, and you are ready to go, and the circle is going to be collapsing on you for the entire round. However, sometimes you'll end up with nothing but a pistol or a shotgun, and you'll end up without a car to travel across the map as the circle closes to the complete opposite side of the map. And that's when you have to kind of figure out a way on how to survive, and if you're not good enough at doing that, you'll actually die to the environment and not to the other players, or you'll end up having to spend so much time trying to adapt to the closing circles that you don't end up being able to loot and scavenge enough to equip yourself for the next battle. I think all of that makes the gameplay really exciting. Now, a very important part of a game like this is the controls, because there's a lot of different things you can do while managing your inventory, or there's a lot of different ways you can engage in a fight. And overall, considering what they have to work with in the limited amount of buttons on a controller, I think they did a really great job. For the most part, every button has 1 or 2 functions at least, and you'll have to learn those functions whether you're holding a button to reload or pressing it to equip something. There's also shortcuts in the D-pad and stuff. You want to spend a decent chunk of time learning the controls here in order to get the most out of the experience. And although there are some issues with inventory management, I think that with the practice and a little bit of the research you need in order to kind of get set there, the controls are well done, and I think they've done a pretty good job adapting this complex game for the console market. Now, a couple of quick opinion notes I'd like to put out there about some of the decisions in this game. Now, the game's in 4K, which is great. Everyone loves 4K, right? The more pixels, the better. Personally, I would have liked to see this game either have a mode or an option of some sort to go down 1080p and improve the frame rate. I think that although 4K is great, this game is not a game that needs 4K. Those extra pixels don't do a heck of a lot because the game isn't much of a looker. And I think that the stability of the frame rates and a higher frame rate would be much more useful in a scenario like this. I would have really liked that option, or if they just set in stone that they were going to go for stability and for like performance instead of those extra pixels, which again don't really make a difference in a game like this. I would have even enjoyed seeing more draw distance or higher resolution textures without it being in 4K. That's just my opinion though. Also, because this is a third-person game and you're looking over the shoulder, there are some issues when it comes to kind of hugging a wall and trying to peek out the corner and shoot your gun. A lot of the times you'll just end up completely murking the door frame instead of shooting through the door. That's just an issue with a game like this where you can kind of peek over your shoulder and peek around corners. I would like to see the kind of contextual use of a wall somewhat improved though in later updates, but I expect that to happen anyway as the game goes into the final version later this year. Now, textures, frame rates, graphics, audio, anything and everything under the sun doesn't matter if this game isn't fun. And it is absolutely fun. Like I was alluding to at the beginning of the video, this is one of the most fun multiplayer games I have played in an extremely long time. And for that reason alone, I would recommend it, especially if you have some friends who are willing to play with you. However, if you're going in as a solo player, I think your experience will be a lot different to mine, and you may not have as much as a fun time playing in solo or matchmaking with randoms in duos or squads. Also, at the time of making this video, there are no achievements to unlock for the achievement hunters out there. Even as someone who is incredibly passionate about achievements in the achievement community, I would recommend looking past that for the time being, as there will be achievements added in the future, and who knows, they could even be retroactively unlocked. Regardless, the achievements will come eventually, and we'll talk about them when they're there. There's not a lot to say. However, I will say that if the only thing holding you back from getting this game is the fact that there are no achievements, you should consider why you game. If you game for fun, then this game delivers the fun you're looking for. Honestly, this game really surprised me. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. I was a little bit skeptical about this whole PUBG phenomenon. And now I'm a believer. After playing it with friends, enjoying our time, getting better, learning the controls, even with all of the jankiness and all of the glitchiness, this is actually probably one of my favorite games I've played this year. It's new, exciting, refreshing, and it's kind of everything I was looking for in a weird way. My opinions might change over time, and the game's going to be changing over time. A lot of the issues in this video might not be issues in the future. A lot of the things I liked might not even exist in the future. You never know where this game is going to really go. Although the direction and the path are kind of clear, it should be pretty interesting to see where it goes and how I feel about this game over time. I'm definitely going to be considering it as part of somewhere in my top 10 games of the year. And whether we consider game preview games in the discussion of Game of the Year, that's going to be another topic I save for the actual Game of the Year video probably. But I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below anyways, if you have some light to shed. Now, I wanted to close the video with a couple of tips and tricks, some very basic things that you can do to improve your time with PUBG on Xbox. If you guys let me know in the comments down below that you want more tips and tricks and some stuff that's a little bit more advanced, I might make a separate video about that. But I'll offer you 4 quick tips to make your experience a little bit more enjoyable. Number 1 is that if you are near a group of items and you want to pick up only one of the items, instead of trying to get the menu to pick up the item you want or picking up all the items, you can actually just go to the inventory screen and manually select the items you want. Tip 2 is that you can actually hold the RB button and then turn your camera around to look around without moving your character. Tip 3 is to hold Y to put your guns away, and you can actually sprint faster in the game. And tip 4 is that while skydiving, always press up on the left stick and look into the horizon if you want to get the most distance on your jump. Hopefully these small tips do help you guys out just a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special thanks to the amazing people on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace. Also, a quick shout out to my teammate Loveboat Gopher for showing me the ropes in this game, as well as our teammates Randall Thor, Kramer, and Krillzone for squatting up together, getting a total of 8 chicken dinners, and bringing us to the top of the squad leaderboard. It was a really fun moment while it lasted, although I'm nowhere near the top anymore.